Hello, I'm Mary Rendina, Executive Director of the Nevada chapter of the Community Associations Institute, and I'd like to welcome you to this CAI media presentation. CAI provides comprehensive education to board members, homeowners, and community managers. This presentation series, developed by CAI's Nevada chapter, brings educational information to board members all around our state, and it has been developed and presented by experienced board members, all of whom have completed CAI's award-winning decal education series. We thank our generous sponsors who make these complimentary presentations possible.
We at the Nevada Real Estate Division applaud you for volunteering to serve as a board member on your homeowners association.
Board members play a vital role in successful HOA management, which is why we believe that board member training and ongoing education is critical.
We're proud to support the effort of CAI's Nevada chapter to provide this innovative digital media training.
We'd also like to remind you that you can also contact the Real Estate Division or CAI for additional help.
Enjoy the presentation.
Hi, aren't you Kate? Aren't you a board member?
Well, yes, I am.
I'm Mark. I'm thinking of running for the board.
Well, Mark, it's good to meet you. Why don't you sit down and we can chat about it? So tell me, why is it that you want to join the board?
Well, I got this neighbor that has one of these monster trucks, you know, the kind with all the shock absorbers and the big wheels. I want to get on the board so I can make a rule that prevents homeowners from owning monster trucks. I'm really going to get that guy.
You know, Mark, most people join the board for one of two reasons. Either they want to improve the community or there's a specific issue that they want to address. And it sounds like you want to address the parking policy. You see, as board members, we have to be extremely cautious and make certain that we don't create any rules that target only one person. It's not only a bad process decision, it's also illegal. So my recommendation would be that you join the board and you get on the parking committee and you review the parking policy. Find out if everyone is actually adhering to that policy, check with the city and see if we're still using the right code. But I've got to warn you, just because you look at changing it doesn't mean you can. Remember that every single decision and idea we have has to benefit the entire community.
Well, I do have a beneficial reason. I was looking at the financials of the association, and I saw what we pay for water and landscape, and I was thinking, if we take out all the trees and all the bushes and all the grass and replace it with rock, we would save a ton of money.
Well, you're right that we would save a bundle of money. Water is the most expensive resource that we've got. Every year it just goes up and up. But think about this. Part of our objective as a board member is to improve and maintain the community. If we were to go in and tear out all the landscaping, imagine what the existing homeowners would say. It might negatively impact their property values. And think about what new homeowners would think when they came in. So while it's a good idea, and it might be possible for us just to take care of certain areas, like maybe the entryway. So that is another thing that we could discuss as we're on the board.
Well, you know, I could get my brother-in-law to do the landscaping work here. I bet he would do it for half the money.
I am quite sure that he would give us a great price, but there again, we're crossing one of those invisible lines. It's called conflict of interest. You'll also hear the word transparency used a lot. Because this is your brother-in-law, there's an obvious conflict, and we may not be able to use him as a vendor. Also, sometimes the least expensive vendor isn't the right fit for the HOA. We've got to keep in mind that you need to meet the homeowner expectation and do it at a price the HOA can afford while allowing transparency to occur and avoiding a conflict of interest.
Well, what about pool maintenance? You know, that company charges us a lot of money to just throw in a chlorine tablet every once in a while. How hard could that be? I'm thinking if I get on the board, I would volunteer to do maintenance on all the pools for free.
Well, I'm sure everyone would really appreciate that gesture, only there are other things that as a board member you'd have to consider. As you work on the team, you're going to learn more about the Nevada Revised Statute. The NRS 116 actually has guidelines that we have to abide by regarding the licensing and insurance for all of our vendors. So here's an example. What happens if our current pool vendor puts in too much chlorine and there's an injury? He carries liability insurance that's going to protect him and our property. Volunteers don't have that same, resource available. So it's not just that we need to use a qualified vendor with the right licenses. Remember, NRS 116, it's also the law. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was thinking I want to save money somewhere.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking we need to get a security patrol, an armed security patrol for our association.
An armed patrol.
Yeah, the problem is that there's too much crime in our neighborhood, and I really want to lead the charge to stop that crime. I was thinking I would ride along with the courtesy patrol, and I would point out all the problem homes.
You have really been thinking about the issues that are affecting our community, and I can't tell you how excited I am to hear that. But I'd be worried if you were riding in that patrol. That kind of puts you in physical jeopardy, and I wouldn't want that to happen. But here's something we could do. Metro has a First Tuesday event where they invite everybody into the community to the substation, and they do these fabulous presentations. Homeowners and board members are invited, and you can go down there and learn about everything from how to protect yourself at home to how to better protect your community. They bring in programs like Neighborhood Watch, and maybe that's something that you'd be interested in helping us implement. Would you be willing to go to one of those meetings with me?
Sure.
Cool.
I already know how I'm going to get elected.
You do?
Yeah, here's going to be my platform. This is
Okay.
a sure thing.
Okay.
I'm going to freeze assessments where they are now, never raise them. Homeowners are going to love me.
Okay. Well, I think that we all joined the board hoping to be able to cut expenses. I know that was one of the things I was interested in doing when I joined. But there are things about creating a budget that, again, you may not be fully aware of yet, but we'll get you there. Don't worry about it. We look at what we paid last year. We look at what we've got going on this year. We look at what we need to do 5 years from now. And then we also have to factor in inflation. Even if we keep all of our vendor costs down, inflation could still cause the assessments to go up. And that's something you can't combat. Tell me, did you pay more for power and water last year than you did the year before?
No?
You didn't pay more?
Oh, well, I guess, yeah. They do go up, don't they?
Even if it's just a little bit. Think about that being applied to the homeowners association. That cost of inflation, that's going to come into play too. And that by itself can sometimes drive that assessment up $3 or $4 per unit. But don't worry, we'll figure it out.
Well, another thing I was thinking, there's a lot of people that speed in our community. I mean, they
That's
drive
true.
like maniacs.
That's
I was
true.
thinking if I get on the board, I am going to force the county to put a stoplight right at our entrance.
Well, again, I appreciate your interest in the security and the safety of our community, especially since we have so many kids. I mean, that crossing right there at the entryway, that could be a little dangerous after school time. The reality is, we don't have control over whether they put in a stoplight, but that doesn't mean that we don't have influence on what they might do. We can contact the city or the county and have them do a traffic study. Maybe they're going to find out that a stoplight is required, or maybe just a pedestrian crossing, but that would be a plus. When we go to the First Tuesday meeting, we can even talk to Metro and see if they'll get some patrol cars to sit out there and find out if we do have some crazy speeders going through. If we work with all of our resources, which you may not know yet, but outside of our management company and the vendors we have resources all over the state. There's city councilmen and county personnel. There's even the state itself that has programs that can help us. And I'm betting if we take the time, we're going to find one of those that will help us take care of that light and that safety issue at the entryway.
Well, what kind of power would I have by being on the board?
Well, along with your fellow board members, you're going to have the power to shape the community. You're going to manage the fiduciary responsibilities for every single person that lives there. That's a big impact on your neighbors. I know it might sound like a daunting task, but let me assure you, you're going to be a member of a team, a highly educated, well-defined team. And together, we're going to make this work.
Well, it sounds pretty exciting being on the board.
It is. It's fun.
How much time does it take? How much does it pay?
Let's talk about time first. You could spend 1 or 2 hours a week, or you could spend more than that. It really depends on how much you get involved in the different committees. like you're talking about going to First Tuesday with me and maybe talking to the city council, and you're obviously interested in working on the landscaping group, so that may take a little bit more time than someone who reviews things on email and comes to the meetings and maybe talks to the homeowners right around them. So time is really something that you control. As to the pay, you know this is a volunteer position, right? There's no pay.
No money?
No money. There's no free assessments. There are no vendor discounts. Trust me, if there were free assessments, we would never have a board vacancy ever.
Being on the board is a little bit different than I thought it would be, but I'm still going to run.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.